This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Now at 6 on Good Morning Indiana.
All of a sudden, wham, we hear this news Friday, so it's pretty surprising.
School bus employees say they've been blindsided as IPS considers a move that could leave hundreds without a job. We're breaking down the changes being discussed and the impact it could have on those workers.
After months of speculation, a high school teacher and coach is now behind bars for sexual misconduct. The statement from the alleged victim's family and the controversy facing the Northwest Hendricks School Corporation Board.
It might be hard to remember a time when checked bags and in-flight meals were free, but this morning we're revealing the perks you can still get on some airlines so you don't waste your money.
It's been so long since I see your face, since I heard your voice.
And tonight is the night. Victor Oladipo back in blue and gold and taking the court at Bankers Life Fieldhouse. What the Pacers star is saying about his big return.
All right, Vic is back, and we're back. It is Wednesday, January 29th. Thanks for joining us on Good Morning Indiana.
4 key words this morning. Go Pacers, Victor Oladipo. Hey.
That's all.
Hey.
I thought you were going to say, the weather is the same. That's 5 words. But that's basically all Todd has to say this morning. He can just spit out that sentence and walk away, right, Todd?
It's still cloudy out. There you go. Four words right there. Not much has changed in this forecast. Really from Sunday to right now. We're still locked in with the clouds. We have that damn feeling out there. There's a few flurries here and there, but nothing substantial. So today you don't need the sunglasses. You don't need the umbrella. Have the jacket, and you can do your outdoor workout. You'll be fine. This morning, you're just going to have to bundle up a little bit across the area. 32 in Bloomington, 31 in Lafayette, as well as Peru. And there are some locations, especially here to the north, where you're at or just below freezing. You notice it's 30 right now in Kokomo, 31 in Marion and Anderson. And I point that out because of that moisture out there. It's not out of the question that there could be a slick spot or two across parts of the area, but that should be just about it. It's nothing widespread. And with some salt, and I saw quite a bit of salt on the streets on my commute into work this morning, that should be able to overcome any moisture that's out there, so that's good news. Big storm system off to our west. Looks like it's heading right in our direction. Not going to be the case. It's going to bypass us down to the south, and we'll just be left with cloud cover here throughout the day. So grab that extra cup of coffee. You may need it this morning with the dreary conditions. And to warm you up, temperatures only slowly climb to about 34 degrees by the time we get to the noon hour, but we do have brighter days ahead and warmer days as well. More on that coming up in just a few minutes, but at 6:02, let's get another update on the roadways.
All right, Todd, looking forward to that. Right now on your roads, we're giving you a live look over on the east side. This is our INDOT traffic camera at I-465 and I-70. Traffic here is moving along up to speed. Just one vehicle there in the shoulder, but it's not causing any issues this morning. Let's plan out your drive. Heading in from the northwest side of town, you can see from State Road 267 all the way up there to I-70 at the north split. It is a 21-minute drive. Traffic there is moving along up to speed. Of course, we'll continue to monitor any issues on your roads, and we'll keep you updated on delays.
The time now is 6:03 as the IPS considers hiring a new private contractor. The jobs of nearly 700 people really matter. RTV6 is committed to making sure people have the information that they need to take that next step. Now, IPS is telling me that on Friday, this Friday, First Student plans to start recruiting for bus drivers that it would need in the fall. IPS says First Students will pay drivers $21 per hour. Anyone making that amount or more will get a 2% increase. Bus attendants will be paid $14 per hour. They are eligible for that 2% increase if they already earned $14 or more. And IPS says First Students will also offer a $1,500 sign-on bonus to all new employees.
It's important to us that our drivers come out, drivers, attendants, all employees that go to First Student land softly, and that we're able to get them the maximum deal. So in the end, every employee is going to get a pay raise when they go there, plus First Students offering a generous sign-on bonus. I suggest to come with an open mind and willing to listen, to get all the facts, find out what the pay and the benefits are. We need everybody that we have today to come to First Student. ready to work, and ready to serve our families.
That was Scott Martin. He's the Chief Operations Officer for IPS. Now, the big questions that we're still monitoring here at RTV6 is how many of the nearly 700 people will First Student be able to hire, and whether surrounding districts facing driver shortages will be able to hire those impacted. RTV6, through our Hiring Hoosiers initiative, will keep on top of this developing story.
New from overnight, a man is in critical condition after a car flipped in front of Butler University's police station. It happened near the intersection of Hampton Drive and Sunset Avenue just before 1 o'clock this morning. Police on the scene say an elderly man did not see the intersection and went through. He hit a boulder and a stop sign before the car flipped upside down. Officers had to push the vehicle off the man's arm, which was trapped out of the sunroof. He was then taken to the hospital. No other injuries were reported. Now to new details this morning after police arrested a teacher and a coach in the Northwest Hendricks County School District.
Tri-West High School's Tyler Bruce faces preliminary charges of child seduction and obstruction of justice. Call 6 Investigates has been following this situation for months now. Bruce is accused of sexual misconduct with a student. He had been under investigation since May of 2019 and on paid administrative leave since July. The state has also started procedures to revoke his teaching license. The district's handling of the accusations, including the decision to not terminate Bruce, upset many parents and community members. The alleged victim's parents released a statement following the arrest saying, quote, "We are encouraged that law enforcement, along with the Hendricks County Prosecutor's Office, are taking the necessary steps to hold Mr. Bruce accountable for his actions. As parents of students that attended Northwest Hendricks County schools, our #1 priority is the safety of all students. Unfortunately, these criminal charges and the current federal investigations show the school system has a long way to go. We are hopeful that this is the first step in the right direction," end quote. The school district declined to comment. You can read much more about this case on our website, theindychannel.com.
The time now is 6:06. A person of interest in Lebanon, in a Lebanon shooting, has been arrested in Alabama. Police say 53-year-old Mark Wilburn was taken into custody just north of Birmingham in connection to shooting his son-in-law on Monday night. A 29-year-old Michael Maxwell was shot one time in the shoulder outside of his home in Lebanon. He is now recovering at an Indianapolis hospital. A warrant was issued for Wilburn's arrest yesterday. He's being charged with battery by means of a deadly weapon. Arrangements are now being made to bring him back to Indiana.
Time now is 6:07. Fishers police want to know if you recognize a bank robbery suspect. Take a look here. The man is accused of showing a gun and robbing the Regions Bank on 116th Street near Allisonville Road just before 3:30 Tuesday afternoon. They say he approached a teller with a gun and demanded money. The teller complied and the suspect got away. Investigators say he's 30 to 40 years old and was wearing a hat and coat. If you recognize this man on your screen, please get in touch with the Fishers Police Department.
All right, you want to sit here or do you want to leave?
Why am I moving in the middle of class? He legit stopped the class to try to move me. I've been back here on this PowerPoint.
Are you being disruptive in the class?
No, I'm not doing nothing. The whole damn class is here. It's cool. You know what? I'm gonna leave.
He's been on our work the whole time with it.
Dozens of Ball State students walked out of their classes to stand in solidarity with the student involved in that confrontation with a professor last week. That professor University police after Sultan Benson refused a request to change seats. Benson eventually walked out of class. Ball State's president was among those attending the walkout. He has previously said the school's dean met with the professor and that he will be monitored moving forward. Some students say that is not enough, so they gathered in hopes of inspiring change.
So I felt like it was my duty to be here, even if it made me uncomfortable, because I didn't want to disrespect my teacher by leaving class, but I also didn't want to leave a student that something happened to, where someone overstepped their power, hanging in the wind.
Student groups are demanding that the tenured professor retire and go through sensitivity training. They are also calling for a new student-led committee to advocate for student issues that are important to these young people.
A popular Indianapolis orchard is now on the market. Adrian Orchard has been owned since 1925 by the family. It sells everything from cider to apples, peaches, and assorted treats. The owners, George and Monica Adrian, say they're getting older and need to cut back. The store and 5 acres of orchards land and an additional 65 acres in Morgan County, where much of the produce is grown, will go on sale on March the 1st. The Adrians say since they don't have any family successors, they hope to find a buyer who wants to keep the tradition going.
Well, tonight is the night Pacers fans have been waiting for, the return of Victor Oladipo. The former All-NBA team member has been out for a year after rupturing his quad tendon against the Chicago Bulls. He practiced with the team Tuesday and says that he's ready to get back in the game.
Nervousness, anxiety, what are you feeling right now, 24 hours ahead of this?
I feel great. I don't expect to go out there and get 40. But my mentality is that I'm going to get 40, so that's not going to change.
Oladipo and the Pacers will face the Bulls at 7 p.m. at Bankers Life Fieldhouse. And tonight, Vic on 6 returns before the game, our exclusive, as Vic also reintroduces his Dunk Cancer program. We visit the Little Red Door Cancer Agency, where young people are already receiving the benefits. That's coming up tonight at 6 o'clock, only here on RTV6.
It is National School Choice Week, and it aims to help parents find the right education option for their children. Coming up, our Kelsey Anderson has more on the events here in central Indiana that hope to do just that. Todd.
And as you walk out the door this morning, it's not a widespread problem, but there could be a few isolated slick spots on the roadways just with some moisture that's out there and temperatures that are below freezing right now and throughout the duration of your morning commute. And as you get out the door, temperatures will be hovering in the 32-degree range throughout much of the morning with those cloudy skies. We'll talk more about your extended forecast coming up when Good Morning Indiana continues. The time now is 6:11. Stay with us. We're back in just a few minutes.
1,000 online and at martin.com.
Welcome back. Here is a live look right now at your commute. This is I-65, a view from the pedestrian overpass here on the northwest side. You can see traffic is moving along just fine, both northbound and southbound. No crashes or delays right now to slow you down.
The time now is 6:14. We're following some breaking news into the RTV6 newsroom. You may have just received a tweet telling us that police are investigating a suspicious death just a few blocks away from the DePaul University campus in Greencastle. As soon as we get more information, we'll bring it to you right here on RTV6. Right now, a good education is top of mind for every parent concerned about the success of their child.
And there are many choices when it comes to what school your child could attend. We are in the middle of School Choice Week, so our Kelsey Anderson is joining us live now with what all parents need to know. Hey, Kelsey.
Hey, good morning. Yeah, so it's School Choice Week, and it seems pretty self-explanatory, but for someone like me, I didn't know that I had a choice. I guess my parents probably knew, but I just went to the school that I lived in. So tell me a little bit about what School Choice Week is.
Absolutely. So School Choice Week is a celebration of families being able to choose the school that best works for their kids. And it's interesting that you say that, right? It's an intensely personal decision. I have 2 kids. They both go here at St. Richard's, but my daughter started out at an IPS magnet school. This was a better fit for her. That was a great school, too. And it's just a remarkable opportunity for parents to know that they have the ability to make that choice.
And so what kind of choices do they have? Obviously, there's public school and there's private school, but there's much more than that.
Absolutely. There's so many different choices out there and so many different choices for different types of kids and different types of families. So you've got your traditional public schools, you've got charter schools, private schools, you've got homeschooling, you've got some people who do a mix of all of those options. And the most important thing is that people understand that they have that choice to begin with and that they are able to exercise that.
Yeah, perfect. And there is an event happening tonight in honor of School Choice Week, right?
Yes, we will be screening the movie Miss Virginia at the Conrad tonight. People are welcome to join us at that event, and that's a celebration of her life. Virginia Walden Ford was a school choice champion out in Washington, D.C., and it's a really amazing story.
Awesome, perfect. Well, and there's thousands of other events here in Indiana happening throughout the rest of this week. You can head over to our news app for more information on that. I'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
All right, Kelsey, thank you so much. It is time right now for us to check in on our forecast. No complaints really about January so far.
All the kids who are heading out to the school bus stop this morning, they have lucked out this month. They haven't had to stand in 2 terribly bitter
deep
cold
snow,
temps. Yeah, any deep snow, any ice. Yeah, they're lucky, Todd.
Yeah, you know, only 3/10 of an inch of snow this entire month. There's been a couple rainy mornings for them out at the bus stop. But yeah, overall, this month we've been featuring temperatures well above normal. Only 5 days so far this month have been below normal. Outside right now, 32 degrees. That's as far as high temperatures go, by the way. 32 outside right now. The this north-northeasterly wind at 5 miles per hour. Temperatures range anywhere from 28 degrees in Richmond to 30 in Tipton, 32 in Bloomington, as well as Bedford, Martinsville. You're at 31 degrees. Everybody's within just a couple degrees of each other throughout the day today. Temperatures will moderate only into the mid-30s, very similar to yesterday. Yesterday, we got up to 36 degrees. That's our average high for this time of year. Today, we'll be up to right around 36 for your high temperature, but still that damn feel out there, and that makes it feel at least a little bit cooler across the area. 33 degrees, your noontime temperature, and then again, we're in the 30s throughout the afternoon hours today. The clouds are in place across the area. You notice a little bit of white showing up on Storm Team 6 radar here. That's just a few flurries and or a little drizzle that's out there. We had dealt with that yesterday afternoon. I would look out my window and you would just see a few flakes falling. You couldn't really make out whether it was snow or drizzle, and then it was done. And that's just the case here once again today. It's nothing that's going to cause any big issues, but as we expand out, you notice this bigger storm system off to our west with rain and snow, and it looks like it's making its way towards central Indiana. What's going to happen is this is eventually going to start to make its way across parts of Tennessee, and we are going to be on the northern fringe of it. So there could be some very light, what we'll call more steady precipitation right along the Ohio River, but most of us are just dealing with the clouds from this system, and then as it moves off towards the east tomorrow, I think tomorrow's a day where we'll start to see the clouds thinning a little bit. We're never going to get rid of them. It's not going to be that bright blue sky, but things will be a little bit brighter come tomorrow, at least than it has been for the past few days. So welcome back, Vic, this evening at Bankers Life Fieldhouse. Pacers taking on the Bulls. Maybe you're heading to devour Indy. Before that, maybe dinner somewhere downtown. Temperatures will be hovering right around 32 to 33 degrees, and I'm sure Bankers Life Fieldhouse will be rocking here this evening. Here is that forecast for tomorrow. Up to 38 degrees, so a couple degrees warmer with those clouds starting to thin out. And then going forward in this forecast, we get into the 40s for Friday and Saturday. Saturday, we'll be dealing with the potential, at least in the early morning hours, of a little bit of a wintry mix. I don't think it's a huge deal at this point. It's a pretty weak storm system. And then by the time we get to Sunday, the temperature is going to be up to 50 degrees with skies that are going to be partly cloudy. And here's a look at your 7-day planning forecast. So initially, not a whole lot in the way of sunshine. The next few days still. The second half of your forecast, much warmer with highs near 55 to 60 degrees on Monday and Tuesday. The Tuesday storm system a little more significant with more in the way of heavier rain and wind. Lauren?
All right, Todd, thanks so much. We are keeping a close eye on your morning drive right now from our live drive vehicle. Our photographer, Shay Goodfaster, in the driver's seat. And this is a dash cam view as he travels westbound on I-70. Right now, he's near the airport. So if you're heading out to catch an early morning flight, you shouldn't have too many problems for your commute. It looks like everything is moving along smoothly in this direction, both eastbound and westbound. So let's take a quick look at our maps. Just a reminder for folks driving through the Franklin Township area, we have some road closures for a sewer project going on right now. That's Edgewood Avenue between 5 Points Road and Franklin Road, as well as 5 Points Road between Stop 11 and East Shelbyville Road. Keep that in mind.
So this is quite eye-opening. You see, Facebook is now giving an inside look into how it tracks what you do when you're not on its site. The social networking site launched the Off Facebook Activity tool just yesterday. You can find it under Facebook information in the site's settings. Now, according to the company, it gives users a summary of businesses and organizations that share information with Facebook. Companies will tell them things like when you opened an app or made a purchase. Facebook says it then uses that information for their ads. It also revealed that users can disconnect the tool by turning off the Future Off Facebook Activity option whenever they want.
Some chips and salsa and a swim in the sea. That's what astronaut Christina Cook says she's looking forward to when she lands back on Earth next week. The NASA astronaut has been in orbit for almost 11 months now, which breaks the record for the longest space flight by a woman. From her time in space, Cook says that the first all-female spacewalk was the highlight of her mission. She hopes it inspires future explorers. Cook will land in Kazakhstan February 6th with 2 other astronauts.
Airlines have eliminated so many things like free checked bags in recent years, but you may be surprised at some of the freebies some U.S. airlines still offer. We'll look at some of the perks so you don't waste your money.
Flooring, floors to your home, that too.
All right, so we all know that Super Bowl Sunday is one of the most popular days for pizza. Pizza delivery, you got to call way ahead. Well, one company is taking advantage of that, and it's not delivery, though. It's DiGiorno. They are making a bet this Super Bowl Sunday that could have you enjoying free pizza. The frozen pizza brand says if at any point in the game the score is 3-14, the company will give out free pizzas.
What?
They picked that score, Raphael, because 3.14 represents pi, you know? Get it? If that happens, DiGiorno says it will tweet out a link for a free pizza coupon, but then you have to run to the supermarket because if the score changes, the link will no longer work.
Pretty creative.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Okay, so the latest Barbie doll line is aiming to better reflect children playing with them. Barbie says it's their most diverse line yet, featuring dolls with rainbow hair or no hair at all. Others have wheelchairs or prosthetic limbs. They come in varied skin tones as well, and includes one with vitiligo, which is a disease where blotches of skin lack pigment. There they are.
Love that so much.
Wow.
A watch like this at auction is worth about $400,000. You okay?
Now listen, this man knocked off his feet after hearing the value of his Rolex watch on the Antique Roadshow. The Air Force veteran says he purchased the watch, listen, for $345 back in 1974, Lauren. 1974.
Those were the days.
He says he bought it because he heard it was a good brand for scuba diving.
No
the appraiser valued the watch at $400,000 before the man, he fainted right there on the show. But he wasn't done. Because of the condition of the watch, it is actually worth between $500,000 and $700,000. Run out right now.
Wow. Oh, my goodness.
And buy a Rolex watch. And thank you for your service to country. But wow, what a surprise to learn that something you bought for a couple $100 is now worth 6 figures.
Oh, man.
Wow.
It's like you won the lottery.
You never know.
How much is that watch?
Yeah.
An Apple Watch. It's a couple $100.
Yeah, these probably
I don't know about that.
wouldn't go for much on eBay even.
But it's amazing. You hear about these stories all the time. Just people find random stuff or they hang on to stuff and then they find out it's worth a ton of money. So you never know.
Yeah. Quite a hidden gem.
Check your garage.
Yeah.
That's right, in the attic. All right, outside right now, we're dealing with lots of clouds. Once again, and that's going to be the case throughout the entire day today. Very similar to the past few days, as it's kind of a repeat forecast. 30s this morning with the clouds, maybe a little flurry action and patchy drizzle, but nothing that's going to cause any huge issues on the roadways. But there could be a slick spot or two just based upon temperatures being below freezing right now and some moisture out there. Eventually into the middle 30s this afternoon for your afternoon highs, which is seasonable for this time of year. But with the lack of sunshine and the damp feeling, the temperatures you see on your screen right now will actually feel a little bit cooler.
Todd, thank you. Okay, Lauren, so back in the 80s when my mom was a flight attendant, the airlines would give away so many free perks like checked bags, drinks, food, you name it.
Yeah, I wish they still did. And consumer reporter John Matarese shows us that some U.S. airlines will still give you some free perks in 2020. He's breaking that down so you don't waste your money.
Anyone who flies know how airlines love to nickel and dime us, charging us for things that used to be free, like checked bags. But it turns out on some airlines, you can still get a lot of services free of charge. Fly much? You've probably been hit with some add-on fee gotchas. Checked bags, $25 to $50 each. Changing a ticket, $200. But Airfare Watchdog found 10 airline perks that are still free on some U.S. airlines. Among them, free Wi-Fi on JetBlue, 2 free checked bags on Southwest, no change fees on Southwest, free sandwiches on Delta and American cross-country flights, free Biscoff cookies on Delta and American, and free soft drinks or juice on all major airlines. You'll have to pay for drinks on most discount airlines. And for the dozen that stink file, one freebie that most airlines don't offer anymore, free meals to Hawaii. You'll get hungry on that 5-hour flight and may say, doesn't that stink? Hint, Hawaiian Airlines offers free meals on flights from the mainland to Hawaii, which may leave you saying mahalo or thank you. Bottom line, before grabbing the cheapest flight you can find, make sure you're not going to pay another $100 for a bag or $30 to pick a seat. That way you don't waste your money. Working for you, I'm John Matarese. Good morning, Indiana.
Now on Good Morning Indiana on this Wednesday morning, this is your 6:30 news feed. Police arrested a Northwest Hendrick Schools teacher and coach on charges of child seduction and obstruction of justice. Call 6 Investigates has been following the case involving Tyler Bruce for months. Bruce accused of sexual misconduct with a student. The school board's previous refusal to fire Bruce upset many parents and community members.
A vigil is scheduled for tonight in honor of the Subway restaurant employee who was killed during a robbery of the store on the northeast side. Businesses in that area also want police to know that they're concerned about safety after 2 Subway robberies that ended in shootings this month. Police are still looking for the suspects who killed Ashok Kumar in the Subway near 75th and Shapeland.
Metro police are searching for a car involved in a police chase that spanned the city's northwest and northeast sides. IMPD says officers tried to pull over the car because the plates did not match the vehicle. That's when the suspect drove off and fired shots. Police are looking for a silver Ford Fusion with tinted windows and an Indiana In God We Trust license plate.
A person traveling through northern Indiana may be infected with the coronavirus. That's according to the Porter County Health Department in Valparaiso. They're waiting for the results of tests on the person in question. That person has been placed in isolation and is currently under medical supervision as a precaution.
3 Purdue alumni are helping Air Force members improve critical communication skills needed to keep them safe while flying. The trio created an aviation radio simulator called Plain English. Pilots are guided through simple and complicated interactions with air traffic control. The Air Force awarded the developers $1 million to help train Department of Defense employees.
It is 6:30 here on your Wednesday morning. Thanks so much for joining us. We are joined by meteorologist Todd Clausen here at the desk, and we have been giving him a hard time these past few days because he really hasn't had much to do over there in the Weather Center.
Yeah, you know, there's not much of a change in graphics, and then you feel like a broken record talking over and over. So it's actually harder than there's a lot to talk about to come up with. So if you guys have any ways to describe overcast, gloomy skies, send them to my Facebook page.
We need to get you some props over there. Or something.
Outside right now, we're dealing with those clouds, and there's not a big chance of rain here throughout the day today or a few flurries. It's very similar to yesterday, and you see on the graphic, it barely even registers. I just don't want you to be shocked if you're out and about today, and maybe there's a little bit of patchy drizzle or you see a flake or two, but it's nothing that's going to be heavy enough to warrant having the umbrella handy. So you just need to have the heavier jacket. Once again this morning, there's kind of that damp feel, and as I mentioned yesterday, you can have the hat and gloves. You won't look funny walking around with a hat on your head because it's a matter of preference here, whether you can deal with temperatures right around freezing or not. You notice the clearer skies from Terre Haute to Bloomington, that's going to fill in, and you're not going to be waking up to any sunshine. And then you also see off to our west, we have this bigger storm system that is actually going to bypass us to the south. We have a northeasterly wind, and that's going to prevent a lot of this moisture from making its way into our area. That northeast wind, the dry wind, so it's going to evaporate a lot of that precipitation you see on Storm Team 6 radar. So it's essentially a cloudy morning with a flurry or two and a little bit of patchy drizzle. Temperatures this morning going from 32 degrees at 9 a.m. only up to 34 degrees by the noon hour. Lauren?
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Here is a live look right now at I-465 and Keystone Avenue up on the north side. You can see traffic in this area is picking up both eastbound and westbound. No delays or crashes here to slow you down. We do have one crash, though, to tell you about on the northwest side at 71st Street and Zionsville Road.
And now at 6:32, we are following breaking news right now out of Greencastle. Police are on the scene of a death investigation in the 100 block of East Berry Street. That's just a few blocks away from DePaul University. As of right now, officials are labeling this a suspicious death. Indiana State Police and the Putnam County Sheriff's Office are assisting with the investigation. We are working to learn more about what may have happened. We will bring you the very latest new information as soon as we get it right here on RTV6.
The numbers are not adding up. If we got almost 700 employees and they only offering 335 jobs, that's a challenge.
Well, that's the concern for hundreds of bus drivers and support staff who work for Indianapolis School District and their current contracted transportation company.
IPS is considering contracting a new transportation company. The change would impact nearly 700 employees. Our Alyssa Donovan is live this morning with the very latest. Alyssa.
So right now, the district splits their transportation duties between their own employees and a contracted company called Durham School Services. Now, if this change goes into effect, a new company would take over all of the bus services. That company is called First Student. However, with this change, hundreds of employees would be in jeopardy of losing their jobs. Now, last night, IPS School Board did meet, and union representatives spoke on behalf of the transportation employees. Union representatives say that right now there are nearly 700 staff members collectively working transportation for the district. But as far as they know, the new company will only offer just over 300 jobs, meaning hundreds of workers would be laid off. Drivers and union leaders say that this is a complete surprise, and it's really caught them off guard because just a few months ago, they had negotiated a brand new bargaining agreement with IPS.
To hear all of a sudden after we thought was a great negotiations, a great conversation that led to some significant increases for transportation and talk about new buses, and then all of a sudden, wham, we hear this news Friday. So it's pretty surprising.
IPS plans to work with First Student to transition current district employees into positions. Now, the IPS board will take a final executive vote on this plan on Thursday, and of course, we'll bring you the latest on that. If this plan goes into effect, the changes would start in July of this year. Reporting live, Alyssa Donovan, RTV6.
We'll keep an eye on that developing story. We continue to cover education this morning. We are in the middle of School Choice Week, a week that gives students and their parents the ability to learn more about the different schooling options available right here in central Indiana. There are events held across the country every January to help parents choose the best option for their child. Our Kelsey Anderson joins us live this morning with a closer look at what School Choice Week is all about and the choices that you have. Good morning, Kelsey.
Hey, good morning. So, yeah, School Choice Week sounds pretty self-explanatory. It's an opportunity to learn about the schools that you can make choices about. So, first of all, tell me how this School Choice Week started. It's only 10 years old.
It's 10 years old this year, and it started as a celebration nationally of families being able to choose the school that fits their kid the best. It's grown every year. A lot of times you'll see a lot of kids wearing the yellow scarves that are traditional. I am not wearing one today. But again, it's a celebration for families to be able to lift up the fact that they're able to choose the K-12 opportunity that works best for them.
Okay, and of course there's tons of opportunities. It's not just public, private, which is kind of what it seems like it used to be in the old days.
It definitely does, and it's great. Here in Indiana, we have so many choices available to us. You mentioned public and private. There's homeschooling. We have a robust charter school environment, and the most important thing is that families get out there and discover what those choices are and find what's best for their kid or kids, and to also note that maybe one kid doesn't belong in the same school as another kid. So if anybody wants more information about the kinds of choices in Indiana or nationally, edchoice.org is our website, and you can go through the process of learning more.
Okay, perfect. And there are thousands of events happening this week here in Indiana for School Choice Week. We've got those listed for you over on our RTV6 News app. I'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
Kelsey, thank you. The time right now is 6:36 out in Washington. The impeachment trial of President Trump moving on to a new phase. Both sides have given their opening arguments. The president's team wrapping up yesterday. The trial now moves into a question and answer stage. Senators will have 16 hours over the next 2 days to submit written questions for each side. There's also the question of whether new witnesses will be called, as has been the case in previous impeachment trials. Democrats say it's important to hear from former National Security Advisor John Bolton after his claims that President Trump tried to extort Ukraine into investigating political opponents. Republicans say allowing one witness could lead to many more.
There is no substitute for a witness speaking under oath to the senators.
We've heard dozens of witnesses, hundreds and hundreds of pages of documents, and hundreds of hours of repetitive testimony. I don't know what more we could hear.
Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell reportedly told Republicans in a closed-door meeting Tuesday that they did not have the votes to block additional witnesses from being called. That could prove to be a win for Democrats. A vote on witnesses is planned for this Friday.
As several of the top candidates are stuck in Washington during the impeachment trial, the first votes in the race for the presidency will be cast in Iowa less than a week from now. Former South Bend Mayor Pete Buttigieg is trying to take advantage of the absences of candidates he's trailing in the polls, such as Senators Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren. Buttigieg is also pushing back against stories in the New York Times and Washington Post, which suggests some of his staff, who are people of color, are feeling marginalized within his campaign.
So I'm always looking for ways to communicate that, and one right now is to say again how important the contributions of these staff members are, and it's something I work to do eye to eye whenever I'm in the room with the people who bring so much to this campaign.
The latest polls of Iowa Democrats have Buttigieg in either second or third place. The caucuses take place next Tuesday.
So here's another call to put down your phones while you are driving. Up next, as lawmakers consider the idea, a woman who endured the tragedy makes a plea to them and to the public.
And it's shaping up to be a battle of the prosecutors. Coming up, more on the fight between local official looking for reform and the state's top attorney. It's 6:39. We'll be right back.
Lazy Boy Furniture Galleries. Live life comfortably.
It is 6:41, covering the State House this morning. A woman whose husband was hit and killed by a distracted driver is sharing her story with RTV6, hoping to change state law.
Kelly Sire was one of many people talking to lawmakers directly in hopes that no one else will have to endure what she has gone through these years.
My hope is that by bringing some attention through his death, that it helps other people.
Sire is raising awareness about the issue as the Indiana House prepares to vote on a bill that would make it illegal to hold and use a phone while driving. Kelly's husband, Brian, died back in November of 2011 after a car hit him as he crossed the street. Kelly says an investigation found that the driver was distracted using his phone moments before the crash.
No one is good at texting or driving or emailing and driving. Driving is a privilege, and that we need to be safe when we're doing it.
Here are more details for you. Under that bill, any cell phone or GPS activity would have to be done hands-free or with voice technology. The House is set to vote on this proposal today.
Marion County Prosecutor Ryan Mears says he will not charge people for marijuana possession of less than 1 ounce. But if a Senate bill passes this year, he may not have a choice. The bill would allow the state attorney general to appoint a special prosecutor if some decide not to prosecute crimes as a matter of policy. The bill passed a committee 6-3 and now heads to the full Senate. But critics point out that it was a direct response to the Marion County prosecutor's decision on marijuana.
I would certainly be frustrated, too, if I were a legislator and elected prosecutors were treating the laws this body passed as optional or mere suggestions rather than the rule of law.
We very firmly believe in the ability of a local prosecutor to make local decisions about how they're going to run their office. They are an elected official. And so by the framework of if you're unhappy with how they're doing their job, you can vote them out of office, that certainly applies here.
Prosecutor Mears has said he is looking to change how marijuana laws are enforced in Marion County because they disproportionately impact people of color.
They've already made history, and now they're working for the people who made it happen. We'll hear from a groundbreaking group of lawmakers on the city-county council. Todd.
As you walk out the door this morning, it's simply more of the same that you've experienced for the past few morning commutes. Cloudy skies, temperatures anywhere from the upper 20s to low 30s, and a few flurries, but nothing that's going to cause any huge issues for your morning commute. We'll talk about the rest of the today and look ahead to brighter and warmer days ahead in your 7-day planning forecast coming up when Good Morning Indiana continues. The time now is 6:44. Stay with us. We're back in just a few minutes.
Other Cruncher chicken sandwiches. Get Rallies delivered.
Welcome back. The time right now is 6:46, and we're monitoring the roads from your live drive vehicle. Here's a look on the east side, I-70 eastbound near Emerson, heading past Shadeland Avenue at this time. So we'll continue to keep you updated if there are any issues over here. We do have a semi-crash up in Boone County in the Lebanon area on northbound I-65. We're going to break that down for you in my full traffic report.
It is a historic year for 4 city-county councilors. Allie Brown, Keith Potts, Ethan Evans, and Zach Adamson are all members of the LGBTQ community. They're also part of the largest group of openly LGBT councilors in the city's history. Last night, the group came together to meet some of the people who've put them in office. Although the event was geared toward the LGBT community, the councilors want people to know they represent everyone. They also say their background allows them to bring a unique perspective to the table.
Having a council that's full of LGBTQ people, people of color, women, all these diverse voices, there's a lot of compassion for people who are often left off the table.
What we need is a state legislature who not only wants to empower everyone, those who are different from them, but we also need a state legislature who wants to empower our cities to advocate for themselves.
The councilors also say having representation that looks like our community as a whole is the only way to move toward a better, more welcoming Indianapolis for everyone.
If you believe that marijuana should be legalized, there is a proper time and place to make that argument. A man from Tennessee learned that lesson the hard way. 20-year-old Spencer Boston was appearing in court in Wilson County near Nashville on a charge of marijuana possession. He was arguing to the judge that pot should be legal when the judge said, well, it's not. You can see in the video here, the man pulled out a marijuana cigarette out of his pocket and lit it up right in the courtroom. The judge held him in contempt of court and slapped him with an extra disorderly conduct charge and 10 days in jail. No word if he got to finish burning that one down.
Not a good idea.
Not smart.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Let's check in with our forecast right now. It's 6:49. Todd Clausen, a beautiful day in the city. So sunny, so bright, right?
No,
not so much.
No, don't go spreading rumors here now, Raphael, on us. Not going to be the brightest day. We're kind of in just this rut across the area. Could be worse, though. I saw a stat. Milwaukee, Wisconsin hasn't seen the sun since early this month. So we're going on a couple days. It hasn't been as bad, though, as some of our neighboring states and communities and cities here across the Midwest. It's still kind of that damp feel as you walk out the door this morning. There's some flurries out there. There's a little bit of patchy drizzle, and that's going to be going on through a good chunk of the day. But temperatures will be around freezing this morning. And I just point that out because there could be an isolated slick spot or two, not from anything really falling from the sky, just the moisture that's on the ground. And it's probably not even going to be on the main roads, but some of the outlying areas maybe that haven't seen any salt on the roads the past couple days, or very little salt. That's where you could run into a slick spot or two. Temperature sits at 32 degrees right now. The winds are out of the north-northeast right now at 5 miles per hour. Everybody is hovering right around the freezing mark in Indian as well as Bloomington and Bedford, but you notice 28 in Crawfordsville, 29 in Richmond, below freezing from Tipton up towards the Peru area. It's 30 down in Columbus, so that's why you need to use just a little bit of caution throughout the course of the day. So temperatures today will be hovering in the 30s. We really don't move one direction or the other. We're not going to see our temperatures fall much more this morning. We're not going to see them climb much this afternoon. So it's just kind of a quiet, a gray day for us once again. And yesterday we had those little spurts of some flurries and or some patchy drizzle, and that could be possible once again throughout the day today. But that northeasterly wind may cut into that just a little bit, and that's going to help to push this storm system down to our south. So it looks like it's getting really close to Indiana, and there is a little bit of light snow there in the far tip there of the Ohio River where it meets the Wabash, but that's exactly where it's going to stay down to our south. We're just going to deal with the clouds from this system throughout the day today as the system moves off towards the east. Tomorrow, hopeful that we'll start to thin the clouds just a little bit across the area. I don't think we're ever going to see them totally depart, and we're never going to get a completely clear sky, but those clouds should thin just a little bit. This evening, if you have plans, you're just fine. Just need to bundle up with the mostly cloudy skies. Tomorrow, with the additional thinning of the clouds, a little bit warmer. Temperatures will be in the upper 30s across the area. And then the next 3 days, we make it into the 40s for Friday and Saturday, 50 degrees on Sunday. You see that precipitation I have in the forecast on Saturday. That could be a little bit of a light wintry mix early Saturday morning, and then it'll just go away as temperatures climb up into the 40s. And how about those 50s heading our way by the time we get to Monday and Tuesday, Lauren?
All right, Todd, thanks so much. We are keeping a close eye on traffic. A heads up if you drive in Boone County this morning. The sheriff's office tweeting out that they have some slick spots they've noticed up that way. This is a live look at I-65, a little south of US 52. You can't see anything from this view, but as you're approaching northbound I-65, near this area, a little north of here, we do have a crash involving a semi and an SUV that's impacting 2 lanes of traffic. Not too slow at this hour, so that is good news. We'll continue to monitor that. Let's turn now to our live drive vehicle. Our photographer Shay Goodpasture has been traveling eastbound on I-70 on the east side. He tells us he just passed a crash in those eastbound lanes as he's traveling between Emerson and Shadeland. He says 2 lanes are impacted there, so keep that in mind if you travel on the east side.
Don't drive angry. Don't drive angry.
He might be okay.
Punxsutawney Phil!
Oh, Groundhog Day may not be the same if this happens. Next, why one group says it's time to replace Punxsutawney Phil and how they want to do it. We'll be right back.
Hiring Hoosiers only on RTV6.
Well, this would change Groundhog Day forever if it happened, but something tells us that we don't think this is likely.
The groundhog may want to call out to hiring Hoosiers. You see, robots are taking over, as you know, a lot of jobs these days. And if the people for the ethical treatment for animals, better known as PETA, get their way, they would take the job of Punxsutawney Phil.
PETA sent a letter to the Punxsutawney Groundhog Club saying it is time for the beloved Groundhog Day tradition to change. The group says dragging the groundhog out of his hole and holding him up to flashing lights in crowds is highly stressful on the animal. PETA suggests that instead, the Punxsutawney Groundhog Club get hip to existing technologies and create a groundhog with artificial intelligence that could, unlike Phil, reliably predict the weather. The Groundhog Club has not commented on the letter so far.
Oh.
I feel like that's what happens to me every day. I get pulled out of my hole. I'm held up here with these bright lights. Yeah.
And you've made it out just fine.
Exactly.
I'm pretty sure.
Exactly.
Phil's like, don't put me out of a job.
I'm pretty sure the groundhog will be okay for the minute he's on this.
Well, and then
maybe he even likes it, but they don't even know.
If they do that for Punxsutawney Phil, they'll have to do that for all the groundhogs out there. There's a groundhog in Wisconsin, Groundhog Jimmy. So
some here too.
Yeah. So yeah. All right.
Wow.
Some work to be done in the groundhog industry.
Outside right now, we're dealing with cloudy skies, some damp conditions. Could be a few slick spots with temperatures below freezing, up to 34 this afternoon. We're looking at a warming trend, though, heading our way as we go throughout the remainder of the week. 41 on Friday, 42 on Saturday, 50s, though, next week.
All right, Todd, thanks, and thank you for joining us. We're back here in 25 minutes and throughout Good Morning America.
We hope you have a great rest of your Wednesday.
Good Morning America is next, right here on RTV6.